Let's just confirm the video is running. I believe we are. I am going to hide myself, trustees, but I am here.
And we can, is it streaming?
Steve is confirming.
Just waiting for it to come up. Yeah, it's up.
Great.
All right. All right, Chair Massey, you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The April 2nd, 2020 regular board meeting of the City Colleges of Chicago is now called to order. On March 16, 2020, Governor Pritzker signed Executive Order 2020-07 in response to a new and significant outbreak of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19. That executive order, among other things, prohibited meetings of a certain size and further suspended certain portions of the Illinois Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120. That act requires in-person attendance by members of a public body. To that end, we have convened this virtual board meeting to undertake critical board actions necessary for the continued efficient operation of the district. This is our first time doing this, so please bear with us as we work out the kinks. With that, I will ask Assistant Secretary Kang to please call the roll.
Vice Chair Swanson.
Present.
Trustee Davis.
Present.
Trustee Kent.
Present.
Trustee Tellman.
Present.
Trustee Williams.
Present.
Student Trustee Alexander.
Present.
Chair Massey.
Present. Let the record show that in accordance with the Illinois Public Community College Act and the Illinois Open Meetings Act, we have a quorum. So thank all of you. I'd like to start my remarks by saying that our intent had been to have this meeting at Olive Harvey. And I'm sorry we were not able to do that. Our current circumstances clearly does not allow this, but I would like to thank President Hollingsworth and the entire Olive Harvey team for the significant preparations they had already undertaken to plan for our visit, and we look forward to getting to the college when circumstances allow. So thank you again for all the work you had done to welcome us. Further, we also have had to defer meeting with and directly interacting with our valedictorians and salutatorians from the colleges, which we would have normally have done at this meeting. So to our vals and sals, let me say that nothing which has or has not occurred because of this pandemic takes away from your academic accomplishments. You, your friends, and your families should all be immensely proud of what you have done. We all have a lot more on our plates than we did when the school year began, but I hope and expect you are able to finish this semester strong. Congratulations. I assure you also that the hard work you have put in and continue to put in will certainly benefit you in the long run. I would also like to just take a moment to thank the faculty and staff for their Herculean efforts to roll out remote learning to such a greatly expanded group of students across all 7 colleges. Of course, I also would like to thank all of our students and our student leaders also across the district for their adaptability and rising to the challenge of learning in an entirely new manner. I've said to the chancellor on a couple of occasions, and he agrees, that I think we're all going to learn a great deal going through this, something that perhaps may help us in delivering our education in the future in a more fulsome manner. Before we turn to our student trustee report, I would like to express our gratitude to student trustee Armani Alexander. Armani, this is your last anticipated meeting as student trustee before, as your term is scheduled to end approximately 2 weeks according to state law. We tried to get the governor to change that, but to no avail, Amani. We typically would present you with a plaque of gratitude, but alas, that's not possible in this circumstances. We will follow with that plaque in the future, but more importantly, I just want to reinforce how much well Amani has served with distinction over his tenure and has been very involved and deeply engaged in the work of this board to a very high degree, and it's just contributed so much. Amani, I want to say personally, it's really been a pleasure to get to know you, and I've really enjoyed our one-on-one meetings. Please do not lose touch with me, okay? So, on behalf of your colleagues on the board, I want to thank you for your service, and we will continue to look forward to great things from you. We applaud virtually.
Thank you all.
All right.
It is very appreciated.
Now we will hear your report. And we should all mute who are not speaking, correct?
Again, thank you for that, Chair Massey. So across, let's see, globally, hundreds of millions of students are currently being affected amid this COVID-19 crisis. At City Colleges alone, far too many of our students are currently contending with illnesses in their families, loss of earning potential, and an abrupt cutoff of the quality face-to-face education that we've grown accustomed to. For this purpose, I really want to hold in high regard the extensive, comprehensive lengths that City Colleges has gone through to support student success in the face of this historic challenge. Access to technology is being addressed for a vast number of our students across the district, which is a much needed development considering that most of the instruction has transitioned to an online platform in such a short period of time. Unprecedented progresses have been made for students across virtually all departments, but I will detail the actions of the Student Activities Department and the SGAs. Students are in contact communication with their administration at the colleges district-wide via Zoom meetings held by the college presidents and often the deans. And I've attended such a session hosted by President Sanders within the previous weeks. Just yesterday, a student leader from Truman College hosted an engaging online event on the Kahoot platform for 12 participants, which is leading to efforts of numerous events to come to uplift our student spirits during this time. Some other platforms that will be used to communicate and serve our students are Zoom, of course, and Netflix. Our student leaders at Harold Washington College are doing what they can to assess student need for resources such as venture cards, hygiene products, and food. And such efforts are being replicated by other SGAs and even CCC partners such as 1 Million Degrees. Student elections for student government positions at each college and the upcoming student trustee are moving full steam ahead, with the voting to take place in just a short while from now. Edwin Medina, the SGA president from Wilburite College, expressed some concerns over the proposed tuition change to be decided on at this board meeting. The students at Wilburite College have been very closely engaged with the tuition committee and the proposed changes up until this point, but he did express that there was some shock at the proposal to entirely remove the tuition cap from their understanding from the tuition review committee meetings. They hope that should this change be approved, that due consideration will be given to the number of students that will be adversely affected by it. As Mayor Lightfoot mentioned in a recent press conference, it is so important during these times to see the lighter side of life. It has been an unforgettable joy being a City College student for these past 3 years and to be nearing the conclusion of a rigorous journey at what I personally believe is the best program at City Colleges, soon to be more equitable than ever before. Among the many emotions that I'm feeling right now, an appreciative, celebratory excitement is among them. For now, that will conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Alexander. Those were very moving remarks, I must say. Chancellor Salgado, would you please give your report?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Massey, board members, all who are joining us online. I do want to make sure that you can hear me well. So please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me well. That's very good. I want to start by as well thanking Trustee Alexander. You are an exceptional leader. It's been a joy to work with you, to show up at the campus community and to see you leading on the campus among the students. Your workload, both because of your student workload along with your commitment to leadership on the campus and across the district, has been an incredible investment of time, energy, that has served this district extremely well. You should be proud. I'm certainly proud and honored to have worked with you. But as you know, your work is not done. We have a meeting tomorrow, and we probably have a few more before your official tenure is over, and with good reason, because we need to be working together more than ever during these times. So thank you again, Trustee Alexander. I also want to make sure that we are all properly placed in the moment that we are in right now, as a community, as a City College community, as a city, as a state, and as a nation. These past weeks have been unprecedented, and I don't even know if that's the right word to use. Let me start by sharing my condolences to the family and loved ones of a beloved member of the City Colleges of Chicago team, an employee who had COVID-19 and has passed away. I'm going to ask us and those of us that are on the YouTube channel to please take a moment of silence to remember and thank this employee for their public service to our students and our city colleges. I want to assure, thank you. I want to assure all members of the City Colleges community that from the outset of COVID-19, City Colleges has followed the direction and guidance of the Chicago Department of Public Health on all COVID-19 matters, and has sought specific counsel, feedback, and approval from the Chicago Department of Public Health on all COVID-related actions and communications. And rest assured, we will continue to do so throughout this pandemic. City Colleges has been closed to students since March 14th and closed to most staff since March 16th. 17 days have passed since we closed March 16th. Public health authorities have made clear that the incubation period for COVID-19 is up to 14 days. Accordingly, City College students and employees that are currently healthy should not fear they were exposed to COVID-19 while at a City College's facility. Based on our existing knowledge of COVID cases, all reported to our CCC community via email over the past week, we are hopeful that the actions we have taken are serving to protect our community members, students, and employees during this unprecedented time. We also continue to pay all employees, full and part-time, even if their job duties mean they have no work to do from home. And while we are sheltered in place and many parts of our lives are put on hold, we are pleased with one thing that we have been able to do for our students and for our overall community. And that is to allow our students' education and career plans to continue. I'm so proud of our students, faculty, staff, and partners for all the work done in the past few weeks to operate remotely. City Colleges of Chicago shifted classes for our more than 30,000 credit students online on March 23rd. We went from 10% of credit sections being taught fully online to 92% of credit classes being taught remotely using online platforms as of today. We also shifted our student services from previously being almost entirely in person to exclusively online. City College's students can access admissions, advising, the library, tutoring, financial aid, registrar, business office, veteran services, transfer services, wellness center, information technology, help desk, the disability access centers, and our call center. As Chair Massey said, this was a Herculean effort that required everybody working hard and working together. And as Chancellor, I'm grateful for all of the efforts by all of the members of our entire community, students, faculty, staff. It showed that we are one City Colleges of Chicago. As we've often said, 7 strong. Trustee Alexander mentioned laptops. We have distributed laptops to every student that is requesting it. And we will continue to distribute to any student that is requesting them. We are also soon to be in receipt of loaner hotspots that we will make available on a first come, first service, so that the conditions for accessing education are improving by the minute. And we are also transforming our emergency fund to an online platform, and have already received $300,000 from an anonymous donor in order to put more dollars in the hands of our students who need it now more than ever. The COVID-19 Student Emergency Fund will be offering payments directly to students for those emergency needs. And on April 13th, soon, our free adult education courses, including GED and English as a second language, will start to be offered via distance learning. City Colleges is also offering loaner laptops for those adult education students. Everyone at City Colleges, as well as our community partners and funders, took action to ensure our students could succeed. And we have been sharing with our students time and time again that their education is more important than ever before, that as the economy covers, and it will recover, those with the education and skills will find your greater stability and progress. That's why we continue to support our students' academic progress with new policies the board will consider today. These policies, developed by our provost in concert with our faculty, will offer students struggling in their remote classes the opportunity to complete with a grade if they can, to ensure transferability of their credits, but will also provide them with a relief valve if the circumstances prove too much. Among these options are the opportunity to retake a course if they are not satisfied with their grade for no cost. Dr. Potter will share more on these policies later. And as you know, a committee of faculty, staff, and students spent a great deal of time over the fall and winter developing and gathering feedback on recommendations. And I want to thank them immensely for their efforts. Dr. Potter and our provost and our CFO, Maribel Rodriguez, have put together a video to explain the process and a PowerPoint that this committee went through and the thorough nature of the considerations. And while today, my recommendation to the board varies from that committee, the varying component, I would say, is due to the COVID situation. As a result of the COVID situation, we will delay a majority of the tuition committee recommendations to future years. We will delay the decision on a 3% annual tuition increase to future years, and instead we will hold tuition consistent for the 5th straight year. I want to point out that City Colleges stands among few, if any, institutions of higher education that has gone 5 entire years without a tuition increase. And this is a challenging decision, but an important decision to make for our students at this moment in time. We will also delay the decision on implementing lab fees to future years. We will, however, move ahead with removing the tuition cap at 12 credit hours. The tuition committee found consensus that one group of students, part-time students, should not subsidize another group of students, full-time students. This is about fairness and equity. And while the committee recommended that the cap be lifted to 15 credit hours, as chancellor, every day that has gone by during this crisis, I've reflected on the philosophy and thought process behind my recommendation to remove the cap. I believe at this moment in time, more than ever, not a single student should be paying more or less for their education than another student. A part-time student should not be paying proportionately more for their education than a full-time student receiving 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 credit hours worth of instruction. This is about fairness and equity at a time where fairness and equity are critically important. We will also create greater consistency among our specialized programs with specialized tuition rates for equipment-intensive dental hygiene, radiography, and construction technology programs, just as we already have in place for our nursing programs. This change will set construction technology programs at less than they would have been priced if charged on a strict per credit hour basis. And scholarship funds will also be directed to help cover the difference for health science and construction technology students affected by this change. We have made other changes as well. We have announced that we will hold virtual commencement ceremony this summer for the class of 2020. And I continue to meet with student leaders to hear their concerns regarding commencement. This is extremely difficult time for those students that were looking forward to the opportunity to walk across the stage, to receive their diploma, to see their families in the audience, and the energy that commencement represents. I understand that. I feel that. I will continue to be in conversation with you students to make sure that you get that experience in one way or another during these times. We have also pushed back the launch of summer and fall registration to mid-April to allow us to adjust to these changes. I know these are unbelievably challenging times for everyone, but especially for our CCC community. And we are committed to doing all that we can to marshal our resources, to make adjustments, and to ensure students and employees' health and success. I want to express my continued appreciation for everyone's patience, flexibility, and goodwill in these difficult times for all of us. Thank you, Chair Massey. My apologies for an extra long report, but I believe that the moment merited it.
Thank you, Chancellor, for that very full and complete report. Appreciate it very much. We would normally have public participation at this time, but we have no one signed up for it. So we would also have a district update, but as Chancellor Salgado said, we will not have that live today. If you go to www.ccc.edu, there's a video posted with the provost and the CFO that gives a presentation they would have given on tuition today. So having said that, we can now proceed with Dr. Adriana Tapanes-Hinojoso's report from the Faculty Council. Professor Hinojoso? Is she there?
We're working on getting her online.
Okay, all right. I'm going to mute.
I'm back. Okay.
One more second, Professora.
I'm almost there. Okay. You all probably can hear me and see me, if I'm not mistaken, because of the remote learning. Okay, good afternoon, Chairman Massey, Chancellor Salgado, members of the board, officers of the district, faculty, staff, and all others virtually present. I would like to begin this report by offering my most sincere condolences on behalf of CCC Faculty Council to all our CCC community facing this pandemic, and especially to the Wright College community for their recent loss. We demand that masks and gloves be provided to all essential personnel working at the colleges. We understand that this is not the case at all CCC facilities. Okay, 3 weeks ago, we were sitting at Harold Washington College at this same time for the March CCC Board of Trustees meeting. We were sitting in separate tables on the administration's side of the room using a separate microphone, while the audience was sitting in chairs next to each other in the usual way. At that time, the CCC faculty community had only received a special announcement from the provost stating that instructors, department chairs, program directors, and administrators should not be deciding on their own to pause face-to-face instruction. I want to begin my report this time with that image, which spoke by itself. It physically and emotionally separated administration from the rest of the CCC community in the same room. I will avoid establishing painful historical comparisons to that specific moment, but would like to highlight it to avoid similar future divisions. We are all part of the CCC community, and this pandemic should make us reflect deeply on that. The Friday following our last meeting was also the last day our students were able to physically attend our colleges. But faculty and staff were still mandated to go in person to the colleges to develop remote teaching plans for the rest of the semester. Emails among CCC faculty went back and forth that previous weekend, and a lot of confusion was generated across the CCC community. Communication from CCC district office was unclear, and local administration, who are in direct contact with faculty and staff, had difficulty interpreting district office guidance. There was no contingency plan designed in case of a pandemic, even though regular news developments showed that it was going to hit us, and even though we knew the virus was beginning to spiral out of control on the East Coast. Our own beliefs made us skeptical of the realities we are facing now. 2 weeks have passed since these events, and here we are. The majority of college credit classes are taught remotely without major disruptions. Our CCC faculty and staff have responded to our students' needs as usual and without hesitation. Why? Because we are committed to serve our students the moment we accepted our jobs. Because we are problem solvers and have years of experience solving them at our colleges. And because we work at community colleges in the city of Chicago. Based on that, we are expecting a contingency plan for the summer and fall 2020 sessions now, because registration for those sessions begins in a few days. The community you lead is asking questions like, are all the courses open for the summer session ready to be taught remotely? Are students aware that this might be a possibility? Are faculty and staff at each college ready to avoid similar circumstances like the ones we just faced? Is everything legally in place to move in that direction and keep the academic integrity of our CCC curriculum? There are only 9 weeks before our summer session starts, and too many unanswered questions remain. Our CCC students, faculty, and staff need those answers today. This is probably my last report to the CCC Board of Trustees as CCC Faculty Council President. I have been honored to serve in this position for almost a year. Communication improvement between district office leadership, college administration, and faculty has been my main focus during this time. I am glad to find out that, as of last week, The Chancellor recognized similar communication gaps in dealing with mid-level administration at the colleges. I hope this will be a final step in addressing what we all face on a daily basis. We have learned a lot over these last 3 weeks, and we will keep learning over the course of these unprecedented circumstances in our country and in the world. But we need to develop practical solutions, resolutions coming from our reflections in isolation. Our personal divisiveness and pride have no value in our current times. We need to understand for once that together in collaboration, we are stronger and we can prevail. Faculty and staff have already begun the challenge. We are waiting for you. This concludes my report. Thank you very much for your time today. I also want you to attach to my report another letter from Professor Keith Spruer, who will be the next Faculty Council President for City Colleges of Chicago, beginning in May. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Professor Tapanes and the host. It's been a pleasure working with you, and you certainly have made it clear, and I think you have kept in front of our minds the need for constantly improving communications. So thank you very much for all you've done for the system and that you continue to do. There are no committee reports today, so there would be no closed session either. So we will proceed to review the items on the April 2nd, 2020 regular board meeting consent agenda. This month, all the items for board action are on the consent agenda, which was posted along with the substantive details on the board website. The Assistant Board Secretary will provide guidance to the presenters. However, I will ask for leave from the body to go out of order and present Resolution 1.07. Since the departure of our former colleague, Claricel Duque, we have been without a board secretary. This resolution would appoint Trustee Peggy Davis to fill the unexpired portion of this officer role until our next election of board officers this summer. Trustee Davis, thank you so much for your willingness to serve this important role.
My pleasure.
So Assistant Secretary Kang, if there are no questions from the board on any of the items, please proceed with the review of the remaining board reports.
Thank you, Chair Massey. Officers of the district, college presidents, district staff, please prepare to provide your reports on the agenda items to the trustees. You should be prepared to join the audio and video portions of the live stream now. If you are viewing the live stream of the proceedings, either through Zoom or on YouTube, please mute your computer. Trustees, today's presenters are Director Fowley, who will present Resolution 1.00, CFO Rodriguez and Provost Potter will present Resolution 1.01. Provost Potter will also present on Resolutions 1.02 through 1.06. Chair Massey has already presented Resolution 1.07. Chief Talent Officer Dunning will present Resolution 1.08 and then continue on to present the personnel report. Vice Chancellor Brown will present the resource development report. CFO Rodriguez will return to present Agreement 4.00, and President Sanders will present on Agreement 4.01. Director Fowley will present Purchases 5.00 and 5.01. The review will conclude with the General Counsel's presentation of the legal invoices. Colleagues, please proceed one after the other, briefly pausing to give the trustees an opportunity to ask any questions they have about the item being presented. Director Fowley, you can proceed.
Resolution 1.00 for the CDB. Resolution 1.00 requests the board's authority to amend an existing trust agreement with the Illinois Capital Development Board to undertake the Harold Washington College roof replacement project. Based on public bids received by the CDB, the total project cost has been revised to $1,520,000, and therefore additional CCC funds in the amount of $620,000 are required for the project. This increases the CCC contribution to a total of $845,000 for the project.
Can you remind us specifically what this goes to? Is this general construction projects, or is there a specific project that's going to occur?
This is a specific CDB funded project for the replacement of the roof of Harold Washington College.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maribel, we can't hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 1.01 is to set tuition for board programs. A tuition review comprised of faculty, staff, and students develop recommendations for tuition changes. However, the majority of these recommendations will be delayed to future years due to the COVID-19 situation. While these recommendations were important in shaping the decision, the Chancellor's recommendation to the board is to adopt the following tuition changes. The first is the removal of the tuition cap that since 2015 has allowed students to enroll in credit hours above 12 free of charge. With this change, all students will pay the same per credit hour rate for the courses they enroll in. Part-time students will no longer be subsidized from full-time students who take more than 12 credit hours. This change ensures equity to all students. And the second change is to establish specialized tuition pricing for select healthcare and construction technology programs that reflect the higher relative costs of delivering those programs, and in the case of construction technology, the unique credit-intensive nature of these one-semester programs. Finally, this resolution reaffirms our per credit rate hour of $146, which is the rate that we've since 2015. Thank you.
Resolution 1.02 amends academic and student policies with a set of revisions and new policies intended to address the current COVID-19 situation as it is impacting students. Students throughout City Colleges have demonstrated and are demonstrating incredible perseverance in the face of these challenging times. On the whole, they want to complete the semester and persist because they understand the value of their education. And with this action, we're putting in place the policies to reinforce that persistence. Specifically, a student who persists but anticipates they might get a grade lower than a C can opt instead into a grade of NC or no credit to prevent a D or F from harming their GPA. A student who persists, and no matter what their grade, whether it's a letter grade or an NC, has a no-cost opportunity to retake the class or classes within 1 year. We understand, though, that there will be some students who just need to take something significant off their plates, given all that they're trying to manage under these trying circumstances. For these students, if they withdraw from their class or receive an administrative withdrawal, they too can retake classes at no cost within 1 year. We're also establishing a COVID incomplete for students in specific classes who cannot complete given the nature of learning in the courses and the need for hands-on or in-person experiences. These students will be able to pick up where they left off and complete their work for full credit in their courses once we're able to safely utilize our facility. And finally, we're establishing an exception this semester for early college students who otherwise could be at risk of losing eligibility for future early college experiences based on the outcomes from this term. I want to thank Faculty Council and some staff groups who gave these changes their focused attention and provided important input. This was truly a collaborative effort, and I believe we have a comprehensive and effective response to help students achieve their educational goals.
Are there any questions on this item?
Okay, Resolution 1.03 seeks board approval for creation of an applied associate's degree in game design at Kennedy King College. This program, on a timeline to launch in spring 2021, was developed by the Communications and Media Department at Kennedy King College with input from Kennedy King Computer Information Systems faculty. We're working with Columbia College and DePaul University to ensure transferability, and we're also benefiting from employer input in shaping the program.
Trustees, any questions? on this?
Resolution 1.04 seeks board approval for creation of an advanced certificate for barbering in the cosmetology program at Truman College. This advanced certificate stacks into the existing cosmetology degree program, and it provides students with both the knowledge and the hours to take the licensing exam for barbering. Resolution 1.05 seeks board approval for creation of a basic certificate in web development at Harold Washington College and Kennedy King College. This basic certificate already exists at all 5 other colleges, and it stacks into the applied associate's degree for web development. In all, about 70 students district-wide are enrolled in web development programs, and we look forward to growing that number with these additional on-ramps. Resolution 1.06 is yet another new program, this one a basic certificate providing the technology specialist endorsement to licensed CPS teachers. This builds upon the endorsement work that Truman has undertaken in partnership with CPS in areas of bilingual education and special education. This endorsement prepares teachers to take the technology specialist test in the Illinois State Licensure System, and we expect the program to make a positive impact on the integration of instructional technology into K-12 education.
Trustees, are there any questions on any of those items? Chair Massey has already reviewed resolution 1.07, so CTO Dunning, please proceed with resolution 1.08.
Resolution 1.08 requests that the board adopts the updated temporary sick leave policy concerning the COVID-19 pandemic in the form attached as Exhibit 1 to this resolution. Such policy shall remain effective as of March 16, 2020, and shall continue to terminate upon the earlier of 1 May 30th, 2020, or a later date specified by the Chancellor and approved by the Chair and Vice Chair or their respective trustee designees as previously approved by the board, or 2, revocation of such policy by the board.
Trustees, any questions on this item? CTO Dunning, would you continue with the personnel report?
Yep. Board item 2.0 is a request to approve the April 2020 personnel report. There are 17 actions on this month's report. They include 8 new and rehires, 3 promotions, title and salary changes, and 6 resignations, retirements, and separations. This concludes this month's personnel report.
Trustees, if there are no questions on this item, Vice Chancellor.
Excuse me, I see 5 listed. It says 6 separations, retirements, but only 5 are listed.
Trustee Williams, you received an updated copy last night.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Version control on my part, sorry.
Vice Chancellor Brown, would you continue with the resource development report?
This month's resource development report includes funded grants in the amount of $739,000, including $425,000 from DFSS for early childhood and Head Start programs, and a $182,000 grant from the Illinois Community College Board for apprenticeship programming in informational technology. In addition, the report includes new grants submitted in the amount of $7,863,207. This includes 2 requests to the Cook County Board of Commissioners for census outreach and several large grant submissions to the U.S. Department of Family Services, the U.S. Department of Justice, and a $2.9 million grant to expand support services to the Department of Education, from the Department of Education. This concludes this month's report.
If there are no questions on that item, trustees, CFO Rodriguez, would you continue with agreement 4.00?
Resolution 4.00, this is a contract renewal request with Coda Inc. to provide childcare meals to be delivered at the following colleges: Daly, Malcolm X, Olive Harvey, and Truman. This is the second, sorry, I believe you can see me now, right? Sorry. This is the second renewal option. The term begins from May 3, 2020 through May 2, 2021. There will be two options remaining to renew for 1 year period each. This is at a total cost not to exceed $500,000 a year. Please note, yearly option renewals are required by the Illinois State Board of Education. Thank you.
Are there any questions on that item, trustees? President Sanders, agreement 4.01.
Board Report 4.01 is a request for authorization to execute an agreement with the University of Southern California Center for Urban Education to provide equity-focused professional development workshops and hands-on training for the period of May 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2020 at a total cost not to exceed $110,000. The USC Center for Urban Education, also known as CUE, will help Malcolm X to further refine and enact our 5-year equity plan to create a learning environment more conducive to student academic success, with an emphasis on the success of underrepresented and low-income populations. As a result of the work with CUE, faculty, staff, and students will be better positioned to close gaps in educational attainment for low-income, first-generation Black and Hispanic students. The funding for this initiative originates from the Workforce Equity Initiative Grant, where all funds must be spent by September 2020, which underscores the urgency of this request. In addition, the data and key learnings gleaned from our work with CUE will be shared with all other sister campuses.
Trustees, if there are no questions on this item, I'd ask that Director Fowley continue with purchase 5.00.
Purchases 5.00, JOC order contract. Item 5.00 requests the board's authority for the monthly job order contract construction projects to be performed by the listed contractors. Board report number 33312 authorize the utilization of JOC as a construction delivery method to perform renovation services, deferred maintenance, and repairs. This month's report lists 2 projects for a total not to exceed amount of $146,717.30. If there are no questions, should I move on to 5.01, core mechanical? Item 5.01 requests the board's authority to issue a purchase order to Core Mechanical in the amount of $41,850 to provide all labor and materials necessary to complete the replacement of the water main booster pump at Humboldt Park Vocational Education Center. Pursuant to Board Report 32969, adopted in June, on June 2nd, 2016, and Board Report 33733, adopted on May 9th, 2019, the district entered into an agreement with Core Mechanical for HVAC mechanical and piping repair services to provide access to obtain routine and emergency repairs as needed. In accordance with board policy, any repairs over $25,000 require additional board approval.
Trustees, if there are no questions on that item, General Counsel Gowan, please review 6.00.
Item 6.0 requests approval of legal invoices totaling $154,172.07. Such invoices cover litigation, labor employment, corporate, and higher ed matters.
If there are no questions on that item, Chair Massey, this concludes the presentation of board reports.
Thank you very much, Assistant Secretary Kane. And I also thank the staff presenters. So trustees, you probably should unmute your mics for our final actions. First of all, does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the items listed? Or would any trustee like to request separate action on any of the items? No. Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the resolutions, the personnel report, the resource development report, agreements and purchases, and the legal invoices contained in the consent agenda and identified as part of the printed agenda on a single roll call vote?
So moved.
Will the secretary, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Will the assistant board secretary call the roll?
Vice Chair Swanson,
Approved.
Trustee Davis,
Approved.
Trustee Kent,
Approved.
Trustee Tallman,
Approved.
Trustee Williams,
Approved.
Student Trustee Alexander,
Approved.
Chair Massey.
Approved. So thank you all. Let the record show that the resolutions, the personnel report, the resource development report, agreements, purchases, and legal invoices included on the April 2nd, 2020 consent agenda have all been approved. So thank you all for joining us today. We clearly cannot guarantee how things will proceed next month, but we look to the website, ccc.edu, for details on our next meetings and any changes to our existing plans. I think this went very well, the technology report. If you have any feedback, send it to Tracy and Ashley. Any suggestions for improvement? But there being no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Stay safe.
Leave me